I won't clickbait you. This will literally just be a step-by-step guide on 3 habits, which are reading, working out / exercise, and something creative. 3 habits you can just start this summer, and I'll just go through all of them, go through some tips. It'll be a slightly longer video, so yeah, I'll just talk about that today. And the first one, and it might be the most important one because barely anyone does it, is reading. And I've got 3 steps for this. First step is just choose something you actually want to read and read it. And that's probably the most important step out of these 3, because you won't get started unless you actually read something you're interested in. You'll get bored when you start off anyway. So just learn how to read something you're actually interested in first. Then you can move on to stuff which you might have been recommended, stuff like that. So just read, for example, I remember when I first started reading, you've seen all this stuff online about like David Goggins, all of that. He's got a book out there, and because I was interested in that, I just read it. And then it actually helps you just actually get used to actually reading. Because if you start off reading like complicated stuff you're not really interested in at first, there's no point, because you'll be bored, you'll put down the book, you'll be demotivated, all of that. But if you start by reading something you're actually genuinely interested in, actually want to read, then just help you so much more. So I'd say most important step, read something you're actually interested in. Then you can build up this actual skill of reading, because reading is a skill, because it does get, if you never read before, it is very hard to actually concentrate on something for a long period of time. Just constantly, because it'll be boring when you first start out, I promise you. Same with anything, it'll be boring when you first start out. But if you keep going, if you actually focus on something you're kind of interested in when you start, then you can move on, that kind of thing. And second tip is literally just practice the advice in the book. So let's say you've done the first tip already, you've read what you wanted to read. And by the way, it can be anything, it can be fiction. When you first start reading, just to actually help you actually get used to reading. So once you do that, actually you can start moving on to the self-improvement type of books, like social books, like that kind of thing. And this is also very important tips, actually start using the tips in real life, because that will really help you. Because what's the point if you don't actually use them in real life? Let's say you're reading a business book, you want to use these in real life. And let's say you're reading a social book, like there's a very famous book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's literally probably the most famous book in like self-improvement, whatever. That book, if you start reading that book, actually start using the stuff you learned from that book when you're like talking to people in conversations, whatever, because that'll actually it'll just make it useful. Because what's the point if you just read the book and don't use it at all? What's the point? Because you wanna actually use the stuff in the book in real life. That's the whole point of reading. That's the whole point of self-improvement, improving yourself every day, that kind of thing. And the third step is actually set goals for yourself for reading. And by the way, this step's not necessarily for reading, can be for any of these habits, but setting goals and setting targets to reach is just so important, because it just makes you see the big picture and makes you actually progress and makes you more motivated, that kind of thing. Let's say you can set a monthly goal, literally, of just doing it, of how many books you want to read this month, or a yearly goal, how many books you want to read this year. Or my best advice probably is just set a goal to read at least, let's say when you're first starting out, just 5 pages per day. If you just do it every day, just make it consistent, those kind of goals. Write this down on a piece of paper and like tick it off, use a habit tracker, all of that. Just write this down, 5 pages per day when you're starting out. Just be so beneficial, because at least you're doing something every day. At least you're actually building up this habit. Then you can go further, you can do 10 pages, you can do more than that, a chapter, whatever. It just makes it so much easier to progress, because at some point you will get demotivated probably, and that's the truth, you will get demotivated. But if you have these goals to rely on, let's say it's a bad day and you want to just make sure you just read at least 5 pages on a really bad day. Make sure you at least do that. And the second habit I'll talk about today is working out / exercise / cardio, that kind of stuff. And in my opinion, both lifting weights and cardio are both essential if you want to build a lean, aesthetic physique, that kind of thing. And what I'll say for lifting weights, what I'll say for a really good tip is just track your workouts. Honestly, I wish I knew this when I first started lifting weights, is just track the amount, the reps you do, track the weight you do, and you can literally do this on, like, if you bring a notebook with you to the gym, you can literally do it on paper, or more easily, you can literally just go online, download App Store, Play Store, whatever. Just search up like weight tracker, lifting tracker, that kind of thing. You can get it. Then you put in the reps, you put in the weight, and then you go back to it the next week. And why this is so effective is because for 2 reasons. First reason, progressive overload. And you probably already know about that if you start lifting, but if to build muscle, you want to lift more than you did the week before, the day before, you want to lift more than you did, so you actually build muscle. Second reason I'd say is because of, it just makes you, on those bad days where you don't really feel like going to the gym, where you don't really feel like doing anything in the gym when you get there, don't really feel that motivated, it just gives you a little bit of extra push. Seeing you did this last week and you did more the week after, just puts a little bit of motivation, puts a little bit of belief, that kind of thing. So that's why I say tracking workouts, honestly, is this is probably one of the most important things about lifting, I'll say, from this video today. Just make sure you track these workouts. And what I'll say about cardio is that if you start lifting weights, cardio is not really that popular, and what I will say, it has both physical and mental benefits, because, like, for example, sometimes I don't feel like I want to do a run, but I do it anyway, and it just builds up discipline within you, because you do something when you don't want to do it, and that can just help you in so many parts of life, literally. So just doing this cardio, also obviously you know all about the health benefits of actually building up and just doing cardio, because it's very different to just lifting weights. But anyway, it just builds so much mental discipline. David Goggins talks about this a lot if you read his book, like I mentioned it last time anyway, but it just builds so much mental discipline within you. So make sure you actually, and this is why, like, this summer is like the perfect time, because you've got so much free time. If you've got so much free time, it's just so easy to at least do like at least one form of exercise per day. And this can either be lifting weights, cardio, or both, or whatever. And this doesn't have to be for long. I know people spend like 2-3 hours in the gym, but honestly, if you do the right exercises, right intensity, it shouldn't take you 2-3 hours at the gym, because if you're spending that long anyway, you're probably doing too many exercises. You don't need that many exercises. You just need to be at the right intensity, progressive overload, right technique, right form, and you'll be fine, honestly. And you just need to put the time in. Won't happen overnight, obviously. It will take months, will take years to see actual visible progress, especially lifting weights. But yeah, honestly, working out, just you already know that just has so many benefits: mental, physical, makes you more aesthetic, whatever. So what I will say, just remember, track your workouts when you lift, and don't forget about cardio, because I know it's unpopular to do cardio, especially for when you lift weights and everything, because you just can't be bothered, but it's so importantly, both physically and mentally, because no one really talks about the mental side of how important cardio is. So just remember that. And the third habit might seem kind of vague, but it's literally doing something creative or starting a project. And I'll give you a few examples. It could be doing something literally artistic, like art, music, that kind of thing. Or it could be something like learning a language, learning how to do something, that kind of thing. And it doesn't really matter as long as it's something you're actually interested in. And why this is so important is because you don't want to just be doing nothing during the summer. You want something to work towards. And like I said many times before on this channel, you want a goal, because you always will have goals in your life, and that's the whole point. And I've used this analogy so many times, but it's the riding bike analogy, where if you ride slowly and don't know where you're going, you'll get shaky, you'll fall off, you'll change direction, that kind of thing if you're on a bike. But if you ride fast, you know where you're going, you'll keep pedaling, you keep going fast, and you'll get towards your goal. You won't fall off, you won't get shaky, that kind of thing. So you need goals. You just need to get somewhere. And that's why I say something you're actually kind of interested in. By the way, it could also be something you already know a bit about and you're trying to get better at, because no one's perfect at anything. But just having a goal to work towards this summer will just do so much for your happiness, for your mental health, all of that. So yeah, I would just say choose something. You can literally learn so much on YouTube, by the way. You can literally just Google stuff as well. You can learn so much. And what I would say about this though, one really important thing I would say about this is that less goals is better. And I've used this concept so many times before about the essentialist thing. I'll just put something on screen right now about that, about the diagram. It's about one arrow. If you have so many goals, you have so many arrows just pointing out to so many directions, but only barely pointing out. But if you have one or two goals or few goals, barely any goals, you have one straight arrow pointing up, a long arrow pointing up, and that's where you focus all your energy on, and you'll get way further. So what this basically showing is that if you put your energy into every single little goal, you'll only be kind of mediocre at all of them. But if you put your energy into a few goals or even just one goal, you'll get so much better at this one goal, get so much more happiness from this one goal. So that's really important. So just focus on finding out stuff you want to learn first and just putting this down, because you might be the type of person to have quite a long list of stuff you want to learn, stuff you want to do this summer. But if you just put this down to only a few things, only one thing, ideally one thing, that'll be perfect. Ideally one thing you just want to get really, really good at this summer, and you'll just get so much further because you can put all your energy into this and you'll know so much about it and all of that. So yeah, that's what I'll say. Find this, learn this, and then put all your energy into that, be obsessed with that, and keep going. And two more things I will say. One really important tip I would say is eat the frog. And that might sound kind of weird when I say it, but what I literally mean by this is do the hardest, most important thing, the most difficult thing first when you wake up in the morning. And for some people, this could be like the cardio I was talking about. Like for me at least, it is you want to go on a run as early as possible, just get out of the way, because otherwise you'll just start making excuses, all of that. For some people, it could be the whole creative project thing. Like let's say you want to do your language learning in the morning, you want to do your music, your art in the morning, because you feel the most resistance to starting this out of all these habits. But it's just really valuable just to start something, just to wake up and just do something, just get out of the way first. And it just makes such a difference, because if you I don't know about you, but if I wake up late, it just really destroys like the whole flow for that day, because I don't know when I'm going to do the most important stuff I have to do. It just really destroys that. So you want to wake up early, you want to do the most difficult thing first, get out of the way, so then you can keep going. And that's a really important tip. And the second kind of thing I want to talk about, which I've talked about a lot of times before, is the compound effect. And what I mean by this is literally, you've all heard about the analogy about doubling a penny every day for 30 days. Like if you double a penny every day for 30 days, you get like, I forgot how much, but it's like millions. But you start off as a small penny. And that's the thing, same thing with habits. If you just make a little bit of progress per day, you'll end up with a lot more than what you started with. So for each of these 3 habits, I would suggest just try meet all 3 of them every day. It doesn't really matter, like I said before, it doesn't really matter how long. Like I said, for working out, it can literally just be, just go on a quick 5-minute, 10-minute run, or only spend like half an hour in the gym. That's still a lot better than doing nothing, you get what I mean? Same for reading. It can literally just be 1 page. If you're really starting out 1 page, 5 pages, a chapter, that kind of thing, it doesn't have to be long, because you can't make excuses for that, because literally everyone has time to read like at least 1 to 5 pages per day every day. There's literally no excuses. Literally everyone has time for that. And the same for working out. For a 10-minute run, you can literally do like 2K in that time. You have time for 10 minutes in your day just for a run. That's the thing. So you can't really use that as an excuse that you have no time, because you just want to meet these habits every single day. And if you meet these habits every single day all summer, you'll see the difference. Trust me, you'll see the difference in a few months in every single aspect of your life. So yeah, that's also very important. Compound effects, keep going. Don't be demotivated if you can't see the progress on the first few days, first few weeks, even the first few months, because it does take a lot of time. I'm not saying by the end of the summer, I said before, you'll see difference, but you might not see the biggest difference you were expecting to see. It will take months, will even take years. It's that kind of thing. It depends what your goals are really at the end of the day. But just don't be demotivated after a few weeks that you don't see anything, because that's normal. That's for everyone. It doesn't happen overnight, and that's really cliche, but it's so true. It does not happen overnight. You need to keep going, and yeah, you need to actually. And there's a saying I heard once about, it's the man who enjoys walking who'll walk further than the man who enjoys the destination, and it's so true. You also need to make sure you actually enjoy what you're doing. That's why I said before, for reading, you want to make sure you start off with reading what you like first. You actually want to make sure you enjoy what you're doing. That's what I'm saying for something creative. You want to actually have some kind of interest in it first, and then actually build it up. You need to really enjoy the journey, enjoy walking, rather than enjoying the destination it takes you to, because what's the point for that? Because otherwise you'll get demotivated once you realise that it'll take years and years to get to that destination that you're hoping to get to. But if you actually enjoy the walking, enjoy the journey, you won't really care about destination in the end as much as before, because you'll just enjoy doing this so much every day, doing these habits every single day. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you learned something today. And just remember the 3 habits: reading, working out, something creative. Just do these every single day and you'll be fine. So thank you.